The astrology of this week is very much giving opportunities to slow down, but also moments of sweetness between the two. What's up, everyone? I'm the Astro Mama. I'm a certified professional astrologer and a board-certified psycho-spiritual life coach, and I bring the cosmos down to earth to help ground deep feelers, creatives, and mystics through astrology readings, forecasts, and events. It's an honor to be here with you all this week. This is your AstroWeather forecast for the week of July 6th to the 12th, 2026. I take it day by day, transit by transit, going over what's happening in the sky above so you can swim with the cosmic current instead of against it. Astrology for me has always been a permission slip to be all who I really am, to honor other people and all who they really are. The type of astrology we do in this forecast helps us understand what's happening in the world at large and how you can be a part of the greater macrocosm that is the collective. Oh, it's just me and my handy dandy laptop, and AstroSeek is how I gather my data. I will make a list of all the transits that are happening that week, and then I sit down and I use my Pisces ascendant to channel. And I will just reflect on different themes that you might see. Part of my intentions are to demystify astrology while also keeping its integrity so you can use it in your day-to-day life because, yeah, why not? Why not? I don't know. That's just what I'm doing. That's what I feel called to do. If there's a day where there's nothing major going on, I might just skip over it. Keep that in mind. There are timestamps below. I like to watch these videos at the beginning of the week to map out and plan my week. And then at the end or the beginning of that day, depending on how my day is going, so I can anchor in and align more with an intention for the day. Kind of like pulling an oracle or a tarot card for your day. And you could always do both. You could listen to this podcast while you're getting ready and also pull an oracle card. Neptune stations retrograde this week. The moon enters Cancer, building up for the new moon, which is technically next week, but we start to get into that energy of the new moon. Venus enters Virgo. So let's just jump right in. Welcome to Monday, July 6th. The sun in Cancer makes a square to Saturn, who's currently in Aries today at 3:46 a.m. Pacific time. We start off this week with a little bit of a reality check. Perhaps maybe this 4th of July weekend, you might have partied a little hard and are feeling the consequences of it, or even possibly during Gemini season, which was like May 21st to June 21st. Maybe you spread yourself out a little bit too thin. Mars is currently in Gemini right now, and that can also feed into this energy of jack of all trades, master of none. And I'm saying this with somebody who has heavy Gemini in her chart myself. It is a theme that we struggle with, is focus. And whether you were partying this weekend or you were just scatterbrained, that does drain your energy, especially as a deep feeler, creative, or mystic, who tend to be the people that are drawn to this work. With Sun square Saturn today, this could be a good day to ground and tackle whatever you need to do. If you're feeling weighed down by responsibilities, hearing things like buckle up or sit down, tackle what you need to do can feel really overwhelming, especially if you have been going through a lot and certain things have been neglected in your life. That to-do list can get longer and longer and longer and longer and more overwhelming. But avoidance is only going to make that more difficult, more challenging, right? It only increases the length of the to-do list. So my favorite hack for days like today are to set a timer. Set a timer for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes. I did that before recording this forecast because my ADHD has just been really gnarly lately. And turn off your distractions and just chip away at tasks until the timer goes off. And if you're in a rhythm, let's say that you're answering emails and the timer goes off and you're still focused, ride the wave. I think as creatives, we think that we should always be on. Our society thinks that you should always be on between, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. or 9 to 5 or whatever, and then you can turn off. But most people don't operate in that linear frame. We start to think that we're lazy or we're not good enough. But the truth is you will have a natural wave of creativity, a natural wave of motivation. And my best advice is to ride that wave. allow yourself during those moments to get as much done as you need to and have a running list of your projects and all your to-do things in the back burner. And when you get that wave, if you're able to, obviously you can hop on it and get things done. And if there are times where that sounds lovely and some of you are going to be like, okay, Astro Mama, well, that sounds great, but that doesn't work for me. I have this deadline or I have to do this thing or whatever. And I get that. But again, like I said, you're always going to have this running list of to-dos. So you might as well get some done when you have that gust of motivation. Or when the moon is in Aries, which also happens today. So the moon enters Aries this morning at 8:07 a.m. Pacific time. And that does give you a little bit of a fire under your butt to do the things. The Aries moon does make a trine to Mercury in Cancer and to Jupiter in Leo. Words can be expansive and motivating right now. This could be a good day when you're doing the tasks that you need to do to listen to your favorite motivational speaker or podcast or music or something that elevates you or activates you towards action. With moon sextile Uranus and Pluto today, you could have some epiphanies throughout your day. As you're laying back and you're chipping away at tasks, you get this epiphany for a song you want to write or a business idea or a project for work or just remembering that you need to take your dog for a walk or something. I can see some of you having multiple to-do lists open. Maybe the first to-do list is to do literally today, immediately, to do this month, and then ongoing projects. And you can always file those epiphanies, those downloads, those ahas for later. But write them down, because when you don't write them down, then it's just creating this energetic tie and exhaustion and confusion. You never know when the right moment will strike. When that creation is ready to be born, you will know, and it will feel really good and juicy. That mindset also brings a lot of hope. When you are going through a more challenging time or you just have a lot going on, you can start to feel really discouraged or sad when you don't have time to allow yourself to play with creating those new things. But the time will come when it's meant to. Don't kill that dream just because it can't happen right now. Just write it down and shelve it for later. With Moon conjunct Neptune today, you could be feeling a little dreamy and creative is like the higher vibrational expression of that. The more shadowy expression of that is foggy. It can be hard to see where you end, where another person begins. Because of that, and also with the Moon square Chiron, that movement of the day of doing all the things could bring you face to face with some of your wounding or some of your coping mechanisms. Set aside time in the evening to rest, to relax, to channel your feelings into poetry or dance and celebrate a day of hard work by allowing yourself to dream, nourish, and heal. If you didn't get to everything today, let's let the all or nothing mindset go and let's just celebrate what you did get to. And if you go into today being like, I have to do literally everything today on Monday, June 6th, that is also not going to help either, because then you're going to feel like you failed because you didn't get to everything, because you are human and things happen. And Mercury's in retrograde. Let's just be mindful of the all or nothing mindset. Welcome to Tuesday, July 7th. We begin a Neptune retrograde this morning at 3:55 a.m. Pacific time, which ends on December 12th. This is a 5 or 6 month transit that happens once a year, similarly to Pluto retrograde, which is also happening right now. And this transit invites us to slow down our output and tune inward, especially with Mercury also retrograde right now. Let's take a little retrograde assessment. So right now we have Pluto retrograde, Mercury retrograde, and now Neptune retrograde. And no, this is not the end of the world. This is an opportunity or a cosmic permission slip to slow down and explore, what do you truly desire out of this life and of our world? I sound like a broken record. I've been saying this the last several forecasts, but it keeps coming up over and over again, the astrology of this moment, with so many different factors, with those 3 planets being retrograde, with Uranus in Gemini, with Pluto being in Aquarius, with Chiron now having shifted into Taurus. Who are you? What do you value? And what do you truly desire out of life and out of this world? This is an excellent time to discover that. And at the same time, people, experiences, and societal influences during Neptune retrograde outside of you, which you may have pedestalized, could start dissolving. Boundaries could become blurred with yourself and others. There's a invitation where anything or anyone that you put on a pedestal that you idealize to possibly be a part of that could be showing their true colors that they aren't too. I'm thinking about parasocial relationships right now. When you put a celebrity, for example, or a public figure on a pedestal, you are outsourcing your sovereignty and your well-being subconsciously to them. When they fall from that pedestal, that can be heartbreaking. That can be scary, because now what happens with the void that the parasocial relationship with that person filled? And it's really important right now to spend a lot of time in solitude, alone, in your spiritual practices, so that you know who you are. And that core self is that no matter who's around you, where you are, what the relationships you have, what reality TV shows you watch, what person you voted for political office. And in turn, that also indicates that you are not one of those people as well. Now, another thing with this transit I think is valuable is understanding what is yours and what is someone else's. Do you ever go somewhere and you leave an interaction with somebody and you feel weird? And it's nobody's fault. I think we have to let people feel weird more and be weird or feel sad or feel angry and still be in community. I think that we tend to be like, if you're not this perfect, shiny, positive ray of sunshine 24/7, you shouldn't be hanging out with people. But I think that that's not true, because if everybody's just wearing a mask at the function, then nobody's connecting. But also it's important to let that person be in their weird funk, but also maintain that you are not in a funk. If you are shining brightly, if you feel excellent at the function and your best friend's going through a hard time, how can you be empathetic towards them and compassionate and not judge them or shame them for showing up? Send them love, but also when they leave, clear your energy, clear your auric field so that you can realize, oh wait, I don't feel insecure about my relationship. My relationship's going really good. It's just that my friend is having a hard time in theirs. I'm going to clear myself of that energy, but also still be compassionate. All in all, this transit is where your relationships, your roles, your environments, habits, and routines come into question. Sometimes through friction or disillusionment, other times through a quiet intuition or a spiritual download, so you can realign with your highest calling for this life and the path that is the most aligned with your soul. Welcome to Wednesday, July 8th. The moon enters Taurus today at 1:31 p.m. Pacific time, giving us permission to rest, slow down, and nourish ourselves, our communities, our environments, our pets, our plants, our kids, all the things, our homes maybe, and anchoring into what you value. The moon does make a square to Mercury, Pluto, and Jupiter today, so there could be some misunderstandings, some friction. With moon also making a conjunction to Chiron, this might not be the best day for like a serious conversation or for a negotiation or signing contracts or anything like that. Has anybody ever sent you a text and you're like, why is this person being so rude? But then they follow up with a voice note or a phone call or a face-to-face conversation. You can hear the tone in their voice and you realize they just text weird, or maybe they were in a rush. Or there are so many times where I use talk to text on the fly and Siri will spell somebody's name wrong, or it'll like miss a big word or something. And it's nobody's fault. It's just like a weird communication. But if I had just waited until I was not on the go to send a voice text, and I just sent a voice note, or I typed out a text and actually reread it a couple of times, or I talked to that person in person, then the miscommunication would have been avoided. So that's the kind of vibe of today. And also, if you do find yourself in a misunderstanding, it could bring some old wounds to the surface. With Moon trine Venus and Black Moon Lilith today, there could be a little bit of a sweetness here. So if that does happen, there could be an opportunity for healing, for regeneration, especially if you carve out some time after being triggered for an intentional moment, for a ritual that grounds you, for something that makes you feel more beautiful, loving, and present. I was listening to a podcast from Layla Hormozi. She said that emotional intelligence isn't never getting triggered. It's about creating space between the moment that you're triggered and the moment you respond. I think that's a fabulous analogy for today. If you find yourself in a situation where you feel activated or you feel misunderstood or there's a miscommunication, how can you create space between that situation and the day that you respond? So you can respond to it from a clear energy. Welcome to Thursday, July 9th. Venus enters Virgo today at 10:22 a.m. Pacific time until August 6th. You may be taking a more practical, service-oriented, and detail-oriented approach to love, beauty, and finances over the next 5 weeks or so. This could be a great transit to organize your closet, to declutter your home, to create or edit your budget, get a facial or a manicure or something detail oriented as a beauty regimen, maybe even trying a new workout routine or doing an act of service for someone you love. Virgo energy tends to, not always, but tends to love through helping, through noticing that somebody is running low on their favorite protein powder and buying it for them, or solving a problem or talking something out with one another, versus some of the more fluffier energy we had in the cosmos. And maybe what Cancer energy craves, as the sun is in Cancer, of a more like nurturing, romantic vibe. It's still nurturing and romantic. It's just in a different way, a more practical way. Just be cautious with Venus and Virgo of being perfectionist towards yourself, overly critical of other people, demanding perfection so much that we don't let ourselves and other people be human is really important with Venus and Virgo. And going back to what we said at the beginning of this forecast, getting rid of all or nothing mentality in whatever area of your life that you are pursuing a growth journey in right now. Now, Venus makes a trine to Chiron later this evening, and that brings about an opportunity for healing, forgiveness, and compassion of or towards yourself and also others, especially if you had a misunderstanding on Wednesday with that astrology. This is a good day to kind of bring things full circle and to find common ground with that person that there was the misunderstanding with. Headed into this weekend, welcome to Friday, July 10th. The moon enters Gemini today at 3:42 p.m. Pacific time. It's conjunct Mars and Uranus in Gemini. It makes a square to Venus and the North Node. It makes a sextile to Jupiter and Neptune. It makes a trine to Pluto. Moon in Gemini in general is a chatty time. It's a communicative time. It's a curious time, but there could be some more friction with the interpersonal relationships today. I hate to say it, but that's kind of coming up consistently throughout this week. Channel any nervous energy into ideas, writing, or bold conversations you've been putting off, and just kind of like pause if somebody pushes your buttons. A great tip with the more tumultuous energy in the cosmos when it comes to relationships this week is to attack, confront the idea, not the person. What's that phrase about how couples that survive relationships better, they don't attack each other, they attack the problem together? There's so much opposition in the air and there's so much conflict. And I think that's partially because we have to find a middle ground. Uranus and Gemini, Pluto and Aquarius are literally revolutionary transits that are asking us to fully change, to fully evolve. And we can't do that if we don't all come together at the dinner table. And instead of attacking each other, we attack the idea. How can we come together to create a better world? It's not all la-la and woo-woo. It's essential. It's literally essential if we want to see any changes happen. You know who never wants to change? People who feel attacked, ridiculed, judged, isolated, scared, alone. Those are not people that are going to contribute to a more beautiful world. Those are people who are going to either fight and do something outrageous and hurt people in the process, or hide in their own little echo chambers where everybody agrees and thinks the way that they think. And that's not going to help. That's my tough love Astro Mama moment for today, for this week. I hope that wasn't too preachy. I'm also preaching to myself. That might have been a little preachy, but I want you to know I'm in the conversation too. I'm saying the same things to myself. I'm lighting the same fire under my own darn butt to also be the same way. And it is a growing edge for me. But this is where we need to be right now, I think, until further notice. Welcome to Saturday, July 11th. Venus makes a conjunction to the North Node today at 6:09 a.m. Pacific time. This brings a really sweet boost of luck when it comes to the intersection between your love life, beauty, and finances, as well as your overall life purpose. My creators, my business owners, post the video that's been sitting in your drafts or go record the idea that you've been having forever ruminating and you keep forgetting to do. Make the video today. Lovers, go on a date night that takes you out of your comfort zone. Parents, take your kids to a trampoline park, go play, have some fun, do something different. everybody who gets their nails done, go try a different color. This is just the day to experiment a little bit, do something that gets you out of your comfort zone and watch what that does. There's so much magic when you go to the coffee shop you've never been to, when you go try the workout class you haven't before, when you go to that networking date or you go on a date with somebody you wouldn't normally date or whatever. And that in turn with this Venusian energy can give a boost to your literal beauty, to your confidence, to your love relationships, and also to your bank account, which we love to see. And then lastly, as we end the week, welcome to Sunday, July 12th. This could be a great night for visibility for those of you who are creatives, entrepreneurs, healers, musicians, comedians, etc. at 6:25 p.m. Pacific time. 20 degrees of Cancer is associated with expressing emotion through art, music, culture, and rituals. The Sabian symbols are this group of resources for astrology that were channeled between an astrologer and a clairvoyant to provide imagery to every degree of every zodiac sign. I looked up the one for 20 degrees Cancer, and it's somebody singing on a gondola, like serenading people on a gondola. It has to do with having these practices or these cultural ways to share emotions in a more structured container, such as an improv class, an open mic, busking maybe for musicians, displaying your art in a farmer's market, something like that. And the moon enters Cancer today, gearing up for the Cancer new moon, which exacts on the 14th. That moon makes a sextile to Venus and Chiron. It makes a trine to the North Node. So that brings a almost healing and regenerative energy to the air. Moon square Neptune, I will say, can dissolve boundaries and add a little bit of confusion to this cosmic conversation. That's another reason why I think it's so important to have some time to focus on your creative pursuits today. That's your Astro Weather forecast for the week. Let me know in the comments below if that resonated with you. Like, share, subscribe if you can. It sounds weird to ask you to do that. This is my first year doing this project, and I would just appreciate all the opportunities to get this in the hands of as many people as possible. I'm never going to judge people for using AI, but I really do not want to see us use it for astrology. Astrology is meant to be delivered person to person. One of the best things that I can do to help support that is to provide a free alternative. And that's what I do with my forecast. And if you want to go deeper, I do offer personal readings. The link to book with me is below. You can take a short quiz. It's called the Grounded Mystic Quiz, and you'll get 20% off your first reading with me. Plus it pairs you with the best reading suited for you. And I do solar return chart readings for your birthday, what you can expect for the year ahead. I do transit readings, 6-month and 12-month. I do natal chart readings for people who are brand new to astrology and trying to understand themselves better. I do couples synastry readings, and I also do tarot. It would be an honor to support you. I'm sending you all so much love, and I'll see you next week. Bye.